Let's learn how maple syrup is made and also make some dairy-free pancakes. Hey bakers, welcome back to my channel. I thought we would bring you outside and do something a little different for today's video. We've actually come to one of the local sugar bushes in our area, which is just north of Barry, and I'm going to bring you along for the ride to see how maple syrup is made. So let's go ahead and go on a little walk through the sugar bush and see what we can find. So one thing you might be able to make out as you see us walking through the forest is there's lots of cables, which is actually called a tubing system, that connect all of the trees up, and this is how they actually collect the sap from the trees once the weather is ideal for that. So basically it needs to be cold enough overnight and a little bit warmer in the day, so that sap from the maple trees will actually start to flow through the tubing system. So you can see here, if you look really closely, you can see some of that sap actually moving up the tubing. So what they do, they tap a hole in the tree, connect the tubes to it, and then it'll just work its way through their system. And it's quite a long, complex journey that it goes on as well. Eventually it ends up in a pump house, and from there they will collect it and they'll actually boil it up and turn it into syrup. So hopefully we can get to see some of that a little bit later when we go to see the inside process of everything they do. But this is just to give you an idea of that complex tubing system they have. Doesn't it look crazy? I mean, it's so interesting to see that this is how maple syrup starts. Let's go on now though, and I think we're going to take a look at the old traditional way that they have collected maple syrup before, which is actually in a bucket system. So this is the traditional method. You can see here there's a bucket that's attached to the tree. It's got that little tap at the top, and can you see there's just a little bit of that sap dripping into the bucket, and it is completely clear at this stage as well. It's actually the boiling process that it goes through that turns it into that gorgeous amber color that we're also familiar with for maple syrup. And that's a great way of collecting the sap if you don't have a lot of maple trees on your property. And that's a great little fact there as well on that sign. So maple sap, it says, contains 2% sugar, 98% groundwater, which I actually didn't know that. So this place is so cool. It's nice that they've got lots of little informative signs dotted around, and the walking trail is great for kids too. So I'm so glad that we came to do this today. So here you can get an idea of how big these trees are as well. They're just very tall and very skinny. I always thought maple trees would be a lot wider, but as this one shows here, it's 350 years old. It's actually not that wide of a tree, so really interesting. Now we're going to head down to the pump house. So this is where I mentioned that the sap ends up. So it says they collect 60% of their sap through this. I'm just going to see if I can peek in the window to show you what's inside. Hopefully I don't fall on the snow here because it is still quite icy. So let's see if we can have a look. It doesn't show it too well, but you get an idea. This is where their pumping system is that will actually help to get all the sap out of the tubing system and back up to where it needs to be, where they can process it at the top of the site. And we are actually at the bottom of the hiking trail now, so we're gonna make our way back up, and then we'll take you inside to show you how they boil the maple syrup. So we've come inside now to take a look at the process where they actually boil the maple syrup. And a fun fact that they actually told us here is that it takes about 40 gallons of sap to make just 1 gallon of maple syrup. So you can imagine how much maple sap this sugar bush actually has to go through to keep up with all the demand for their maple syrup every year. It is such an amazing process. And then once it's ready to be bottled up, you can watch here this lovely gentleman who kindly let me film him explain the whole process to us, that they use this foot pump to actually fill the bottles with it. It was heated to about 180 degrees, and then the whole process, I think they said, takes 24 to 48 hours to make the syrup. And once it's done, it is still warm when it gets bottled. So unfortunately, my sound actually didn't record for this segment of the video, but I still wanted you to see how they bottle it. And it was such an amazing experience for both us and the kids to see this happen as well, where we've seen it go straight from the trees into those bottles. So I highly recommend a visit to a local sugar bush if you have one in your area. And this is the lovely products that they make with their maple syrup. They've got sugar, they've got a gorgeous barbecue sauce as well, and of course all the different sizes of syrup. So now we're going to make our way home and we're going to show you how to make some pancakes for the syrup. So I really hope you enjoyed that trip to the sugar bush with us. Let me know in the comments if you like this style of video. It's definitely something I think I want to do going forward as we start to get into berry picking season and such, where I can show you around some of the places that we go to pick our fresh ingredients. Anyway, let's crack on with this recipe. This is my dairy-free pancake recipe. Super easy to make. Even the kids help to make this one as well, and it's a really satisfying recipe too. It makes about 12 fluffy pancakes. As always, I'll pop the recipe information in the description below, with the link to the printable recipe on my website at bakeangel.com as well. And essentially what we've done, we've just put all of our ingredients into our mixing bowl. That's our 120 grams of all-purpose flour, 250 ml of plant-based milk, 30 ml of canola oil, 1 egg, 20 grams of white sugar, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, and 1 teaspoon of salt. And as you saw, I just used my hand mixer to mix all of that together. You could do it by hand yourself as well with a spatula or a spoon, because it does come together really, really easily. Now, if you find that your flour tends to be a little bit lumpy, then you probably would want to sift that first. Otherwise, just throw all the ingredients in and mix it up and you'll be good to go. Now you'll see that I'm cooking mine on an electric griddle. You can do these in a pan as well. If you are using a griddle, I always suggest preheating it before you start. And I set mine to 350 degrees Fahrenheit for that. I don't grease it or anything, as it's a non-stick one. But what I will do every so often is just keep an eye on the underneath. Sometimes with this particular grill, it can get a little bit feisty on the right hand side and actually cook things a little bit quicker on the right than the left. That's why the ones on the right are a little bit darker in colour. So just keep an eye on them. The general rule of thumb with pancakes on a griddle is that as those bubbles appear and they burst, that's generally the time that you would want to start to flip them over. So just keep an eye on them and move them around if you find that your griddle is a little bit unevenly heated like mine as well. And there we go, these ones are pretty much done. So I'm going to take them off, pop them on a plate, and then I'll finish off baking the rest of the batch. Like I said, we get about 12 from this batch, depending on the size of pancakes that you prefer as well. And then the last thing we're going to do is add some of that gorgeous maple syrup that we picked up earlier on top of the warm pancakes and serve them to the kids who are just dying to eat these. I really hope you've enjoyed this video. Again, let me know in the comments if you like this format for my videos. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button as well if you enjoy this kind of content, and of course share this video with any of your friends that might be interested in learning more about maple syrup. Thanks for watching.